other things that stands out to me that from the amount of reading that I've done in these last couple of years is how that the education is one of the first steps in the perpetuation of these cycles. Is that once you can miseducate somebody, you make it so that they're less likely to end up having certain employment opportunities, and then once they don't have those employment opportunities and they end up having to be employed in in the factories in Midwestern towns or be employed in service jobs, then it makes it so that they can only live in certain areas, and in those areas they most likely are dealing with the same type of educational issues. So when they send their kids to school, their kids encounter that same type of disconnect. And specifically in Rockford, you can see how those things have went on for generation after generation. And Auburn has been one of the schools that's specifically been at the center of some of those things, and I don't think that I don't really believe in coincidences with these type of issues. So it's not a coincidence to me that the biggest story that's probably going to come out of the schooling system this year is going to be what happened to Paris Moore. Hopefully that's the biggest thing that comes out, because we don't want anything worse than that to have happened. But also last year, one of the biggest things that happened was when it was a shooting that was in the parking lot at Auburn, and you could see the way that was politicized when that took place, And so you see these you see these same things happening over and over again, and you see that this specific school has taken on sort of a symbolistic, this Auburn has taken on sort of symbolizing some of the racial issues that exist within the Rockford public school system. So what are some of the things that you've heard about Auburn, some of the things that you've seen happen with Auburn in decades, and some of the faults you think that exist specifically within Auburn inside the Rockford public school system?
It's like, first of all, like you said, Auburn is politicized, and sometimes I'm surprised that some of the people that are even engaged in certain aspects of human rights struggle, civil rights struggle, whatever, that still won't go as far as to try to hold Auburn accountable, that still believe that because of the multicultural student body, that Auburn is some type of melting pot, some type of good example. And on paper, well, not even on paper, but in some ways you could see how that's true. Still Auburn, it's not hard to do though, because the bar is low. Auburn produces more, or it did at one point, I'm pretty sure it's still the case, more African-American students that go on to go to college than any other high schools. But that bar is, and so a lot of people, it had at one point, it probably has the oldest African American studies class, or in the district. It has a African American. I think they changed it to multicultural. It used to be African American club, and we had Black History assemblies and things like that. We had one of the foremost African American teachers there at one time, and so you had those things. However, the reality is that there's an apartheid system at Auburn to this day, and it is an apartheid system based on the fact that they house the what they call the gifted or the Renaissance program and the Kappa Performing Arts program, which is for some of the top students in the city of Rockford. Okay, and so you have a building that has some of the top students, the most affluent students, with some of the most marginalized students, okay? And so ideally, some people say, well, those students get to rub shoulders. That the students from low income, or basically the neighborhood children whose district that is, they get a chance to see what excellence looks like. They get to see what good work ethic and, what gifted looks like. They get to see that. It's in their building. They get to take pride because it's there, which some unknowingly take pride for something that's actually denying them of some resources and accesses. And the facts are people will push back on that, but the facts are the facts. You know, a student, a regular student that's not in the Renaissance program could never be the valedictorian because of the way the system, you have the Renaissance program there. It was so bad when I was in high school, they would pick a good black student to speak because the top 1 and 2 students would speak at graduation. Right. So they have like, okay, well, we're going to select. Yeah. No, it ain't going to be, well, you know, the best black person that we got, because at the time, according to the lawsuit, it was only the gifted program was like 1 or 3% black, and within that's the thing too about the people who care lawsuit. The way it's been politicized is don't pay attention to it because it didn't really get to the root cause, which is which is partly true. Yeah, because the people, the parents, and the community members that rose up to fight. They used, and you know, it was almost form follows function. They were trying to matriculate, but they were being fought. They were being attacked on all sides with unlimited amount of taxpayers' money was going after them to stop them and to fight them. But what did come, many things came out of it, and that's the thing. One of the things that came out of it was that the Renaissance program, the so-called gifted program, was in violation of many things. The tests that they use. There, within the paper that I sent you, the researcher found that at the bottom of the test, the author of the test said this is not to be used to track students. At the bottom of the test, what do Rockford do? Track students. They found that also you're supposed to offer the test in multiple languages. They got caught. Right. You know, the grassroots people, they would send a Hispanic parent in to ask for the test. They wouldn't let them know there was a Spanish. Right, and also that you can use multiple criteria to decide on whether a child could go into the program, you know, and all type of tricks. Think about the famous rich people who cheated to get their parents into UCLA. And times at times 100, and think about the many ways. So now the students at Auburn don't know that. They don't know that they probably should be in the program, right? You know, and especially, I think I don't know if it's 7th grade after you take the test in 8th grade or something like that, you grandfathered in for the rest of the time. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. But this is the thing: if you are conditioned from kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, you're gifted. You're so smart. You know, even the stuff that you do that other kids will get suspended or body slammed for, he's a genius. He's just, you know, those things. You're going to do well on the test by the time you're in 8th grade. People telling you gifted, this, that. Also, people who care brought out that they had been cheating on the scores. They were getting caught putting non-black children into honors classes that had the same scores as black children, and all of that is within the document that I want to read. So the engineering of a dynamic that also the psychological. Just imagine going to school where you come from Concord, you go into Auburn, and it's like going into a foreign country. You know, which is one of the number one violations of the educational process in general. Then you come in, the teachers, because I know this too as a substitute teacher that's sub for the gifted program. Watch the difference in which the way the students are treated, and the way that students are orientated, and the way that, and this gets to the point of Paris Moore, where you have an environment where the teachers, the principals, the police, security guard, the noon aide, everybody knows that, or not everybody, but that there's an environment that you're going to war against the bad kids. You know, and that environment seems to be intensifying more globally. You know, I'm saying it's almost like it's going back to after school specials where they framed gangs with being the problem with youth.